Never find yourself not having the right kind of flour when you find a recipe that you're really wanting to make, because there's 3 different recipes. You probably more than likely got everything you need to make bread flour, pastry flour, which would be your cake flour, pastry flour, or if you're needing some self-rising flour. So let's get started. Your self-rising flour is going to be 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And what I like to do is I like to take a spoon and I like to dip my flour. I don't like to scoop it because that will cause you to pack your flour down. So that's 2. I'm putting 4 cups. And this is going to make you enough to put in a bin. You know, you can put it up and have it for later. So it's 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. This is for your self-rising flour. So I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of salt. And I'm just going to use my pink Himalayan salt because that's pretty much all that I use anymore. And what you want to do is you want to sift this. So anything that you're making, any flour, whether if it's self-rising, bread flour, whatever, you want to sift it because you want to get all the baking powder and the salt into your flour. So our second one is our bread flour, which is what you would use because it's got a higher gluten content in it to make breads. Now, I don't have everything I need, of course, to make the bread flour. But if you buy it and keep it on hand, which I'm going to do, it's called Vita Wheat Gluten. And it'll be over there with your flour, your baking soda, your baking powder. It'll be in that area. And it'll just be in a regular size, probably about, I think it's 22, 24 ounces. And it's called Vita Wheat Gluten. And all you do is mix a cup of all-purpose flour to a teaspoon of the Vita Wheat Gluten. So I've got to get some of that. Our next one is our cake flour. Now, there's a lot of recipes that call for cake flour, or you'll use this for pastry flour. So all it's going to take is 1 cup of your all-purpose flour, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in my sifter. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a tablespoon, and you're going to remove 2 tablespoons of your all-purpose flour. Just remove it from your cup of flour. See, I removed that flour. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some cornstarch. And I'm going to add, since I removed 2 tablespoons of flour, I'm going to add back 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And that's going to give you 1 cup of cake flour. And you're just going to sift it like this. And you need to sift it several times, really. You need to sift it at least 3 times. So you got your self-rising flour and your cake flour. And I'm going to put the recipe down for the bread flour. It's 2 ingredients. It's a cup all-purpose flour and your Vita Wheat Gluten, which I've got to get some. So it's easy peasy. Never find yourself without the right kind of flour. I'll write down the recipes to each one of these different flours for you down in the description box.
I hope you liked my Tuesday tip video. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. And happy cooking, everybody.